Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to Graystone Acres Kitchen. Hey, I'm starting this new series on Appalachian cooking, Appalachian heritage, and Appalachian culture, and I really want to bring home basically where we're from, and the whole area of Appalachia, really, Southern Appalachia, Northern Appalachia. I think we have a lot of culture here that people just don't know about, and I really want to bring it to you guys and show you guys what we're all about. And one of the biggest things in any culture is food, and I mean all types of food. And we're going to cover, well, today's going to be fried chicken, but we're going to cover soup beans, maybe some cornbread at one point. We're going to do a little bit of my wife's family background with ham and bean soup, and some beef dishes that I grew up with. A couple things that are easy for a weeknight also, like beef barbecue sandwiches, amazing. So we're going to try to touch on everything from, like I said, Southern Appalachia all the way to Northern Appalachia. Just go through everything and try to give you a little bit of history of it, and just talk about what we like to eat and what the region around us likes to eat, and I think you're going to enjoy it. So today we're going to talk about fried chicken, but before I get into that, every single video I do, I'm going to be wearing a local business t-shirt. Today, right now, I have Graystone Acres on. That's our farm. But the next one, I'm going to have another local business. I'm going to talk about them, what they're about. For our first video, what we're about, we're a regenerative agriculture farm. We raise cattle and chickens, meat chickens, and egg layers. Everything's rotated, everything's pasture raised, and really, really happy about that. We have a website, graystoneacres.com. Please check it out. Also, our YouTube page, Graystone Acres Beef, Instagram, Graystone Acres, and then Facebook, Graystone Acres Beef. We believe in a more traditional method and some new ideas, especially with rotating pastures and maximizing grass production, which is good not only for the cattle and the chicken, but for the land, and that's what we're about. Now, so today we're going to talk about fried chicken. Now, fried chicken was brought to Appalachia by immigrants, pan-frying method. It became such a staple on Sundays. Sunday fried chicken on Sundays is a big part of the Appalachian history and culture. So this is a pretty basic recipe. You can spice it up however you want, but I want to give you guys the basics of how a little bit of a clean bottom slate, a little foundation here. Okay, so for our recipe, it's about a quarter cup of flour per pound of chicken. Now, what I have in here is one of our fryers, or one of our whole chickens, just about 4 pounds. Okay, and last night, and I'll show you some pictures. Last night, I put this in buttermilk with the same seasonings that I'm going to season my flour with. Salt, garlic powder, onion powder, paprika, and pepper. Now, you can add cayenne pepper or maybe a little bit of chili powder if you choose to. But like I said, I'm trying to give you guys just a basic base recipe here. So you want about a quarter cup of flour or a pound of chicken. And then with this, I have put what would equal out to 4 pounds of seasoning. Now, what I'm going to do is post this whole recipe on our website, and it's going to be the basic. You'll see the quarter cup, and then you'll see each measurement, and you just multiply that by the pound of chickens that you're going to be frying. So in this, I have 4 teaspoons of paprika, 2 teaspoons of salt, 1 teaspoon of pepper, 2 teaspoons of garlic powder, 2 teaspoons of onion powder. Okay. You're going to want to fry in lard. That is traditional for this area, traditional Appalachia. Hogs were a big part of the region, north and south. Everybody always had hog butchering times. Now, we got ours from another local farm, and I rendered this about a month ago. Now, you want to fry and lard about a quarter of an inch in the pan in your cast iron. Okay. I'm gonna do a little bit of a different method. Traditionally, you would fry everything in the cast iron, turning it periodically so that your breading doesn't burn, and you do that until the chicken's done. Me, I'm gonna do what is called a fry oven method. I'm gonna fry first, and then I'm gonna put in the oven to finish. I like this method because you don't have to worry about your breading getting too dark or burning, and you ensure that your chicken does get done. The one thing about frying is that fat will absorb the chicken. That's what you want, but that fat will absorb the chicken, so you need to periodically make sure you have enough fat in the pan. This cuts your fat use, so you're not having to, you can prolong how much fat you have in the house. So for that, it's going to be about 375 on the oven, 20 minutes. I'm going to first fry them 2 to 3 minutes each side, get them nice and brown. That's what I'm going to indicate on is the brownness of my breading. And then throw it in the oven, 375 for 20 minutes. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys what I do on the first step. We're going to do the dredge method. You can also do the bag method. Personally, I'm not a big fan of the bag method. I tried that a few times ago. I find that you need a thick paper bag, a little bit extra flour, and then inside the bag, it gets messy, especially when you're taking out of the buttermilk bath, placing in the bag with flour and go to shake, it becomes a mess in there. I think this method, for me, this is how I was raised, this is what I know. Dredging, put on your wire rack, and let it rest. And that's what we're gonna do. So come along with me and we'll get to cooking. So I had some technical difficulties. Apparently my phone shut off during the middle of this video. So the whole footage of me doing all this for you guys is gone, and I am sorry. So I'm going to try to walk you through the steps. It's very simple, okay? Also, I wanted to give a shout out to JQ Dickinson Salt Company in West Virginia. That's where we're at. Southern West Virginia, they have a history of making salt there since the early 1800s. Salt in W was one of the first industries in the area before even coal, right around timber production. So these guys make amazing products, not just cooking salt, also salt bath bombs, certain scents and everything like that. But everything I've had from these guys are amazing. I'll include their link to their website in the description. So again, I am very sorry about this. Working out kinks of how to shoot videos, so bear with me. All right, so out of your buttermilk bath, all right, sorry, let me step back here. First, you're gonna mix all your seasoning into your flour. Just dump it on in, make sure it's all good and mixed. You want your flour to be a reddish orangish hue because of that paprika. And like I said, you can add a little bit of cayenne pepper if you choose to, a little bit of chili powder if you choose to. That's up to you. All right, so first you're gonna take out of the buttermilk bath, put into your flour. All right, number one rule to remember when you are frying anything, you have your wet hand and you have your dry hand, okay? So your wet hand never goes into your dry hand never goes into your wet. Keep them separated or you're gonna have giant fingers full of breading, okay? So take out of your buttermilk bath, place in the flour, and just literally go like this over all your chicken, okay? Until it's nice and covered. And you see how these are coated? You wanna make sure it is coated. Get in every nook and cranny. If you feel wet, put more flour on it, okay? Put more of that breading on it and get it covered, all right? Then you're gonna wanna set them on a wire rack. When they're on a wire rack, you want to set them at least 10 minutes. You want that breading to really adhere, okay? Adhere to that chicken, because what that's gonna do is when you go to fry, it won't flake off. When you go and bite into it, it won't all pull off. So get it at least 10 minutes. These have been sitting here for about, I want to say about 5 minutes. We're gonna go over to the stove here pretty quick and then start frying. Again, I'm sorry, but just take them out, put your chicken in your batter. Remember, wet doesn't touch dry, dry doesn't touch wet. Coat your chicken with your batter and then just place on your wire rack. And you can see I have actually sliced a little bit of the chicken breast, but pulled out the tenders, sliced a little bit of the chicken breast, 2 breasts, wings, drums, thighs. I sliced these for our little one. So we're gonna fry all these up here in a second and I'll show you guys that. And then maybe sometime in the future, we'll do another frying episode of something else and I'll re-show you how I do my breading. Okay, so we have our lard in the pan right now. And yes, it is a big dollop, I ain't gonna lie. But like I said, you want it to be at least a 1/4 inch deep on the pan. We have our oven set at 375. Wire rack, we're gonna fry and place on the wire rack to put in the oven. And then we have our chicken on our prep wire rack. And so we're gonna wait for the lard to get to temp, melt and get to temp, and then we're gonna start frying. All right, looks like our oil is at temp, so we're gonna start dropping. Turn that up a little bit. Now you don't want to overcrowd the pan. I think I can get the last tender in there. There we go. Like I said, 2-3 minutes each side, and then we'll flip. So we have our chicken fried. I'm about to put it in the oven. All right. All right, we're in the oven at 375 for 20 minutes. And that's it. I'll show you guys the finished product here once we pull it out the oven, but that's pretty much done. Once it's out, you want to temp it. 165, I believe, is the recommended temperature for poultry. So make sure that your chicken is done. If it needs to go in for 5 more minutes, let it go in for 5 more minutes. It won't do it any harm. And here's the finished product. So again, if you're in Marion County, please check us out. Graystone Acres Beef from graystoneacres.com. And if you're not, just like and subscribe and share with a friend. Thank you, guys.